Morning guys, how's it going? Joining me in the office early morning, just getting stuck into my day, but I want to do a quick overview of something new for you. WordPress has just released, fairly recently, the Gutenberg update, which is a substantial upgrade and update to their editing software. WordPress ostensibly hasn't changed much about their editing process for content in the last 10 years, really since I started in the industry back 2007, 2008. The editing area was always the same. You had your text tab and your visual composer, and it really just was like, composing an email, and then you would enter in imagery, into the text by just clicking the button, and you couldn't really drag and drop. You didn't have real control over it unless more recently you installed a page builder on top of WordPress. Systems like WP Bakery and so on. So this update is actually the first time that WordPress has really attended to the fact that they've started to lag behind a lot of the more up-to-date and modern page builders out there. I think it's almost like their attempt to keep up to date with systems like Squarespace, which do the kind of simple page builder, website builder thing really well, albeit, as I said in a lot of other videos, they're not marketable platforms. They're not good for marketing, but the editing areas are really good, and that's where WordPress has really been lagging a lot over the last kind of 6-7 years. All these systems have kind of come in over that period, and WordPress has stayed stagnant and static, and it hasn't really updated anything. It's allowed other programmers to create page builder systems, drag and drop systems, which work with WordPress, but of course that needs a lot of continual updates and upgrades and patches to work appropriately, and they're not always that great. Now, having said that, this new Gutenberg update isn't the kind of solution to all the problems that WordPress has when it comes to page builders and so on. But what it does is it streamlines the content creation process, and it makes it much more, if you're a blogger or you're creating just new content for your website, it makes it much simpler to build a page within the WordPress editing area. So I want to just show you a quick overview of what I've done in terms of installing Gutenberg on one of our websites, and you can see how the editing area really differs from what you're probably used to with WordPress. Maybe you've used WordPress in the past but then kind of got put off because certain issues, particularly with the editing area, or maybe you're new to WordPress and you want to know a bit about how it all works and whether it's going to be a good fit for you. So for now, let's dive into the Gutenberg update, and I'll show you a little bit about how it works.
Hey guys, so let's just first of all deal with kind of the WordPress editing area we are familiar with. And it always looks like this, and it has done since I started getting involved in WordPress websites, so that's at least 10 years. You had your title up here, then everything is controlled within the editor, and you can either have visual or text, and text is just HTML. Visual is just like this. So what you have to do really is go through and just write your content. You can certainly align, you can format, change headers, like so. There's an H2, H3, add an image, edit the image, but everything takes place within this kind of system. Alright guys, so when you come to your dashboard, say you've got a WordPress install right now on a website, you should be able to get access to Gutenberg now if you do want to do that. You'll be met with this kind of prompt. You can test the new editor today or install the classic editor or whatever. I'm just going to go through the process, and you can see how easy it is, as it generally is with most plugins and installations with WordPress. There's it installed, and we'll activate. And then what it will do is it will push through that demo post that I showed you in the last one, although the last bit of the video was to do with the kind of standard editing area. So this is the way Gutenberg is going to look. You're going to have little tips, as they always do when they introduce something new. So find more settings for your page. The sidebar is very familiar already, because it's just the same options that we normally have within WordPress. You've got your preview, publish, The difference is you've got this block area, which I'll show you in a second. Visibility, published dates, post type, categories, tags, featured image. You know, the aesthetic has slightly changed, but pretty much everything else has just been aesthetically updated for this new Gutenberg installation. Then you've got your discussion. The discussion area normally sat at the very base of the post editing area, so that's slightly different, but ostensibly it's pretty much the same. If you hit the settings cog, then that can give you kind of full screen editing, unclutter everything. That seems pretty nice. I'll just close out of the tips here, you don't need to see those too much. The way it works then is done by blocks, which I alluded to a little bit before. So now, instead of going into the editing area where you've got text and Visual Composer, but realistically you just have to kind of write all your text and then add in your imagery. Now we have these individual blocks, so you can edit your titles there. You can choose what the block is going to be. I think, let me see, paragraph here, you can actually choose whether you can duplicate, edit as HTML, remove block, transform, you know, change it to a different format, like so, instead of using that kind of always there top toolbar within the editing area of WordPress originally. This is very familiar. You just got your kind of formatting options for the imagery. You can click to edit the image. You can add links. There's kind of, if you click, you can edit, you know, the alignment or whatever you want. You can, I assume this means you can move the blocks up and down. This is very much a familiar thing if you're used to any of the page builders in WordPress or outside of it. You can kind of, you know, move around content. What can you drag and drop? Yeah, you can. Okay, that's a new thing as well. Standard kind of image with description on the bottom. Let's see, you can change it to different header types just like that, rather than having to kind of highlight the text and then go up, so that's slightly different. Yeah, we can sort of play around with that. It seems pretty uncluttered. I know that most apps have been going that way in terms of, like, you know, creating content, especially written content. If you're a blogger or a writer or, you know, I guess a researcher or whatever, generally speaking, it's about creating, you know, kind of a very, very clean editing area. So that does it to some degree. This is all very, very different. Again, you can just edit the image. So when you click on an image, then over on the right hand side you'll see the editing area for that block comes up. So that, again, that's new, because normally all the editing took place here in the central area. I see that there. Okay, so you can actually, okay, so that'll be theme dependent, you know, what you set as your large, small, medium kind of size, and you can customize it, which is new. Normally that's a theme based option, so that's quite good. Change your colors here. Okay, advanced settings, CSS class kind of stuff. Most people won't be interested in that. Then you can go back to your kind of general document area. You can also edit over here. I haven't noticed that. Okay. Alright, that seems to be a much cleaner kind of thing. And then once you come to the bottom of your editing, then you have all your usual things. Your Yoast SEO for optimizing the post, a lot of theme based stuff, which will be specific to this theme that I use called Code Bridge. So that's Gutenberg, I guess. It seems pretty intuitive. You can add new blocks, of course. Let's see how that actually works. So if you hover over something, it'll come up with a little plus. Add a new block. Change what the new block actually is, if you want like an image or whatever. Let's just add a quick image in, see what it looks like. There we go. You can change the width of it, if it's full size, thumbnail, so on. 100% width, 75% width. Maybe you want to link to it, all pretty standardized WordPress stuff. But I do think the editing area in general has been cleared up, a lot more modern. This kind of reminds me of something similar to maybe like a Squarespace editor. It's very clean, uncluttered, a little bit more flexibility in how you can format the post or the page that you're creating there. Of course, worth bearing in mind, if you go to, for instance, a home page, like we use the theme to build the home page, the editing area for this is not going to really be helpful because we've got like a big slider, you know, homepage hero image up here, which is controlled by one plugin. I doubt this editing area is going to be controllable with Gutenberg. This is controlled with a page builder that is bolted on to our theme. So there you've got kind of classic theme. I wonder how you switch to the page builder itself. That's something I'm going to have to figure out on my own. But that obviously kind of replace it with the Gutenberg editor, or at least this kind of this classic editor sort of area. So that's a bit different. I'm going to have a bit of a play around. You can see it kind of comes up as HTML, which of course translates to, you know, aesthetic, different layouts, icons, parallax effects, stuff like that. So that could be a bit of an issue with the new Gutenberg install if it kind of replaces your page builders and stuff like that. But we'll play around with it. I'll let you know if I have any updates or comments or anything like that. If you have any questions, let me know. As always, make sure you hit the subscribe button below this video and hit the notification bell, and I can keep you posted with new stuff as I release it. Meantime, guys, hopefully this was of help, and look forward to seeing you again in the next one. Thanks as always. Take care. Have an awesome day.